Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ito po ang inyong lingkod, si Dean Mel Santa Maria, at nanonood kayo ngayon sa inyong YouTube channel, Attorney Mel Santa Maria, at sa Facebook, sa Dean Mel Santa Maria fan page. At ngayon po ay September 8, ito po ang episode natin sa araw na to. At gaya po ng dati, inaanyayahan ko po kayong makibahagi sa amin para na nga po meron tayong interaction. Ika nga, excited po ako sa mga comment nyo ulit. Comment nyo po at saka mga mensahe nyo, mga pabati ninyo, at saka po mga kuro-kuro at pananaw ninyo kahit saan po. Ano po, kahit ano pa ang tanong nyo sa akin, at huwag nyo pong kakalimutan, kahit na po salunghat sa aking mga paniniwala o kuro-kuro o pananaw. Ayos lang po yan. Ayos lang po yan. Babasahin ko rin po yan. I can take it on the chin. Don't worry. No problem po. Huwag po kayong kabal. Kagaya po ng bawat gabi, meron kaming mga ganon at binabasa nga po namin. Kaya umpisa na po natin tungkol sa tala ng COVID-19. COVID-19 sa buong mundo po, 27,513,580. Tain na po. At ang mga namatay, 897,283 ang mga namamatay. At ang nagre-recover, 19,608,573. At tignan po natin kung pang-ilan ang Pilipinas sa buong mundo. Sa buong mundo po, Pilipinas, tignan natin, nananatili pa rin po sa 22nd place. 241,987 ang afflicted. Ang total death po ay 3,916. At ang mga nagre-recover po ay 185,178. Nalagpasan na po natin, matagal na, ang Indonesia na dati ay siyang nangunguna. At ang nauuna po sa atin ay ang Germany, 253,625. Pero sa Southeast Asia po, tayo po ang pinakamataas. Pero sabi nga po ng mga eksperto dyan sa UP, medyo nagpa-flatten na tayo. Kaya kagaya po ng dati, ingat-ingat lang po. Dyan po sa labas, delikado pa rin po. Kaya face mask tayo, face shield tayo, at saka social distancing, physical distancing, wash our hands, at walang manyanita. No mass gathering po, ha? Kasi po, hindi po natin alam, kayo nag-iingat sa sarili nyo at pinag-iingatan nyo rin po ang iba, ang kapwa natin. Kaya at lalabas lang po kayo, essential lang po. At kung may trabaho, ayos lang po. Pero uwi ka agad sa bahay at goli, ligo ka agad. So, ayan po. Yan po ang ating advice ngayong araw na to. Ngayon po, tingnan natin po ang balita. Ilang mga balita lang po. MTRCB, no plan to censor Netflix. Okay? Buti po yan. At wag lang no plan po. No touch. Yan po ang aking advice. No touch. Forget it. And mind your own business. Yan na lang po. Nitignan. Huwag nyo nang tanggapin. Okay, huwag nyo nang tanggapin yung mga inaalok na kapangyarihan na ganyan. O huwag nyo nang i-volunteer yung kapangyarihan na yan. Impractical, unethical, at saka po walang base sa batas. Okay, out. Alright. At eto pa. BSP says Filipinos financially ill-prepared for retirement, offers digital pera. Parang program po ito, makapag-i-invest kayo sa safe securities ng gobyerno. Maganda po ito. Subukan nyo po ito. Ito pong sabi, konti lang pong nag-aalok dito at kumukuha nito mga 1,099 lang po daw or 69% are locally employed 273 or 17%. Kaya po, anuhin niyo po 'yan. Pag anuhin niyo po 'yan, pasukin niyo po, baka po makatulong sa inyo. Pero ang tunay naman pong problema yung amount ng pensyon. Sapagkat po dito sa Pilipinas, ang pensyon ng mga nagre-retire with all due respect to SSS, medyo mababa talaga po. Sabi nga po, basta't nag-retire ka dito sa Pilipinas, you immediately will belong to the under the poverty line. Napaka, whether yung iba, mas mataas doon ang pensyon, pero pangkahalatan po, below the poverty line, sabi po nila. And that is a very bad impression. Kaya dapat po paigtingin talaga ang paghahanap ng pera at pag-i-invest ng SSS sa ating pera. Okay, ngayon po, hindi na po natin patatagalin ang ating usap-usapan at okay, usap-usapan ng news. Meron po tayong mga panauhin ngayon at medyo light po ang ating diskusyon. Ito po ay mga batang mga profesor at profesor hindi sa koleyo, teacher hindi sa high school, guro hindi sa elementary. Ito po ang mga profesor sa law school. Ayan, kompleto na po sila. Okay, nakompleto rin. Papakilala ko po silang lahat. Ito pong nasa aking, ano ba to? Nasa kaliwa ko. Ayan, nasa kaliwa ko po. Si Attorney Joan Paula de Veraturda. Siya po ay nagtapos ng Masters of Laws, Human Rights, and Democratization. Wow, bigat nun, Paula. So, University of Sydney. At saka si, si Ana Patricia Tobias, tawag ko po dyan, Pat. Masters of Laws sa Public International Law sa Queen Mary University, shifting scholar. At si Niki Mendez. Si Niki Mendez naman po ay LLM, Business Law and Technology, University of California in Berkeley. At saka po, nagtapos sila sa University of the Philippines ng Batas, JD. Hindi na po LLB, Juris Doctor. So, Juris Doctor, may LLM, makabihasa po silang lahat sa batas, sa pagtuturo. Kaya, yun ang pag-uusapan natin, ang pagtuturo ng mga batang guro at saka po ang kanilang mga buhay-buhay. Okay, mga kaibigan, kamusta po kayo? Si Paula, si Pat, at saka si Niki. Unahin na natin si Paula. Paula, kamusta ka? How are you?
Okay naman po, Dean. So background lang, I've been teaching in FEU Law since 2015. Thank you, Dean, for allowing to teach year in, year out. Since 2015. So I have taught Bicon, legal technique and logic, in recent years, torts, and my favorite, special issues in international law. So that's where I get to teach the more specialized international law subjects of human rights and international security.
Ayan po. Si Paula po, ako na magbabalita sa inyo. Lalabas na po ang kanyang libro on human rights law.
Human rights.
Ako gumawa ng
Hopefully,
advance congratulations sa iyo. Magbo-book launching tayo sa online. Online na lang.
Yes.
Ngayong pandemic. At susunod po nating kakausapin, papakilala, direct from Paris, France, si Pat Tobias. Kamusta, Pat? How are you?
Hi, Dean. Hi to everyone who's listening and watching. I'm okay naman po. And I guess also as a background to everyone who's not familiar with me, I've been teaching at FEU Law since 2014. I think when Dean Mel also started his teachership at FEU Institute of Law. And I've been teaching, I think I started with statutory construction, and then legal writing, persons and family relations, and public international law.
Wow, ang bibigat ng tinuturo. At ito pong si Pat, kinunta ko pa yan sa France. Sabi ko, magturo ka. Online naman eh. Hindi naman kayo pupunta sa brick and mortar classroom.
Yeah.
Kaya nagtuturo siya ngayon sa FEU. Meron pa tayong nagtuturo isa eh. Nasa Singapore naman siya. Si Rob Real. Nasa Singapore naman siya. Okay, at ang pangatlo po natin, by the way po, magbabarkada itong tatlong to. Binibigyan ko po ito ng ticket sa basketball nun eh. Si Niki. How are you, Niki?
Hello. Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, Niki.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So,
Hello,
hi,
Niki.
Niki. Hello. So, as a background, so I've been teaching in FEU. Dinala ko ni Pat, by the way. So, pinakalala niya ako kay Dean Mel. 2014-2015. So, my first subject was philosophy of law. And then, object ko, securities. And, parang yun lang. Agency partnership. And then, 2 beses ako nag-tour ng philosophy of law. Ayun.
Okay. Mukhang nade-delay si Niki sa atin, ano? Well, okay, anyway, Niki, nakikita ko pa ikaw sa TV at medyo delayed ka. Pero ayos lang. No problem.
Okay. Okay.
Alam nyo, ang gusto kong unang tanong sa inyong tatlo, no? Ang babata ninyo, si Pat, natatandaan ko to nung pumunta sa FEU, sa Moraita pa kami. Di ba? Nagulat ako. Sabi ko, sino ka? Sir, mag-a-apply ako ng teacher. Sabi ko, dito? Sa Manila. Kasi noon, hindi pa magta-transfer sa FEU eh. Talaga nakatutok pa sa Manila. Nagkataon lang, by 2014, talagang umokay na kami maglipat at doon kayo lahat nakapagturo. No? Yung pagtuturo ng batas, no? Bakit nyo nagustuhan ito? Bakit nyo nagustuhan? Bakit nyo ginawang hilig ito sa inyong career path? Okay. Niki, ikaw.
Okay, so yung reason, yung dahilan bakit ko gusto magturo, actually dati ko pa yan din discuss or we've been discussing kaming tatlo palagi. What we wanted to do, and sincere to, medyo cheesy pakinggan, pero what we really wanted to do is to influence minds, teach kids, or hindi man kids, pero yung mas mga nakababata, how to think. Kasi ang dito kasi sa atin, sa Philippines, I think yung critical thinking medyo hindi masyado tayo strong. So, yun yung influence na gusto namin. Not necessarily what to think, but really how to think. So, yun yung gusto namin import sa students, especially law students.
Okay, Ikaw, Paula.
Ako naman din, well, it's fun. As weird as that may sound, it's actually fun preparing for classes, preparing your syllabus and, meeting new students every semester. Pero for the most part, natututo rin po ako sa students ko eh. It's interesting. We're not that much older than most of our students. Pero, like, you can really tell the difference in the way they see the world now. And I think kasi kami, our generation came from that generation where we were at the cusp of like technology and old school like books. Sila kasi like technology talaga eh. So I remember we had this discussion back in 2016, I think, you and I did, na kailangan i-mentor yung mga students. And that's not to say that, we're fully qualified to be mentors. We're also learning as we go along. But for the most part, it's an opportunity kasi to let them know, to show these students na their traditional conception of the practice of law is not the only way that they can practice law. As lawyers, we don't have all the answers, obviously. We're experts in law, but we're not experts in engineering, in science. We need to know what our role is. But at the same time, having that privilege of practicing the law is, it's a great thing. Like, they can really make a lot of difference. And yun yung, what I try to, I don't know about my students, no? Sana nakikita nila pag natuturo kami. Pero talagang we try to make them see na traditional practice isn't the only way to be a great lawyer. You have to be for the people first before anything else.
Wow, ikaw naman, Pat. Ano ba nag-ano sa iyo? Nag-tulak sa iyo na magturo?
Yeah. for me, because at that time, you're also like a good teacher. At that time, I was working at the Supreme Court for one justice, and maybe for aspiring lawyers or law students. When you're working as a law clerk at the Supreme Court, so you're really a bit isolated, from your peers, from a lot of people, and I think it's part of the nature because of you're doing confidential job, you're a confidential work, so you only see your colleagues, your boss, and of course the small group that you interact with every day. And for me, I want, like, first of all, like, I wanted to do something else, outside of work, something that is also could be fulfilling for me in terms of my time and something extracurricular. So I thought that, I think, yeah, teaching right now would be a good idea for me, and I can meet new people. I can help, guide young soon to be lawyers or aspiring lawyers. And I felt that teaching would be a good idea, would be a good outlet for me at that time. And, it also comes with a lot of additional benefits in terms of your career paths. So it opens up opportunities also for you. So I think at the time was really a perfect complement to what I was doing then as a young lawyer.
Alam mo, no, yung mga edad nyo, no, hindi nga kayo nalalayo sa mga ano nyo, mga estudyante nyo, no. Para nyo bang nararamdaman sila? Kasi ako, tinitingnan ko lang sila eh. Okay? Ganyan ang sagot mo. Para bang minsan, naapektuhan kayo ng palpak mo? Yung parang, ako, basat kasi ako, matanda na ako. I mean, I'm 63. Basta nakikita ko siya nagkakamali, yung parang, okay, nagkakamali ka, tapos kino-coach ko siya, no? Pero parang napaka-objective ko na yung pang, okay, nangyayari sa estudyante, okay, umupo ka muna, tatawag ako ng iba. Pero kayo nararamdaman nyo ba yung, yung ramdam na, parang ako to, sige, kawawa naman to, bibigyan ko ito ng pagkakataon pa. Ganun bang nararamdaman nyo?
Ako po,
Ikaw pa.
Sige.
Go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
Sige, Pat, ikaw.
Okay. For me, yeah, I think I can. I can sort of tell if, for example, if a student is not prepared enough, or pag yung we call some idol na hindi nasa law field or hindi tumaan law school, yung radyo. So, for example, when a student is reciting, and mapapansin mo talaga if some of his or her classmates are helping them out. Kung yung radyo yung tawag namin, tinutulungan mo yung katabi mo, yung seatmate mo ng sagot. So, ako, as a professor, napapansin ko yun, aware ako, kasi yun, medyo fresh pa, hindi pa ganun katagal. No? So, pag may mga ganung bagay, yun, sinasabihin ko yung students ko na, I was a law student also, so I know like the tips and tricks, so I can tell. Or, yun, it helps me, I think it helps me empathize with them na I haven't been out of law school, more than 10 years, that long. So, to that sort, yeah, I think it can be an advantage sometimes. Also, there, of course, as probably Niki and Paula can share with us, there are disadvantages also. So, I mean, not young, pero we look younger, I think, even. So, yun pa yung isang disadvantage with us.
Ikaw, Paula, ikaw ba nasabi mo na sa estudyante mo, ay, ginawa ko rin yan, luma na yan, wala na yan, hindi na ubra sa akin. Nasabi mo ba yung estudyante?
I really call them out. Well, for the most part kasi, and I think this goes for a lot of the younger lecturers, nakakatawa kasi siya. It reminds you kasi of what you were doing in law school. I mean, or if you weren't doing it in law school, at least you know that your classmates, or I don't know, people were doing it. So, it's nothing new, but you can tell that they're trying to get away with it. So ako, I do call them out. You know, I try not to be mean. I think mas mahigpit lang ako. I'm rather strict, pero I'm not mean. So, but I do call them out, and it's amusing. Kasi, again, napagdaanan namin yan. So, wag na, don't even try with us.
Ikaw ba, Niki, terror ka ba?
Hindi ako terror, pero ang sabi sa akin nito nila, meron ng balita na takot sa akin yung students. And I don't know why. Pero, kasi siguro, siguro hindi nila alam yung iniisip ko. Hindi kasi ako masyado nagsasalita. So, they don't know if galit ako or hindi. Pero tama yung sinasabi nila, Paula, same experience. Minsan nagugulat ako pag nakikita ko yung students and then nakikita ko yung naalala ko yung sarili ko before. Sabi ko, ay, halata pala yung ginagawa ko before. So, parang sa my past self. Oo. Oo, ganun. So, ganun yung na-realize ko. At the same time, so, naiintindihan ko rin sila. So, pag minsan, syempre, gusto mo matuto na yung bata. Kailangan, alam mo yung balance na firm ka at the same time, i-guide mo siya. So, ganun process.
Ito ba, yung experience nyo ngayon, no? Ako, actually, I really intended yung professor sa FEU kasi nga, ang idea ko noon, mas mararamdaman nyo sila, alam nyo yung culture nila, kesa dun sa mga matatanda, parati kong ginagawang example baka basta nakita ng mga matatandang profesor na nag-aaral sa Starbucks, pagdating sa eskwela, sermonan. Pero iba na kasi yung how young students are wired ngayon no? Anong nahalata nyo sa kanila? Do they work more effectively as groups or individual? Kasi I'm sure yung araw ninyo individualistic di ba? Yung kanya-kanya kayo talaga sa professor Pero ngayon, ano nahalata niyo sa mga estudyante?
I think, in my experience, at the beginning of law school, there was an attempt naman to do group study. Pero I think very early on you realize that it's not for everybody. Particularly kasi when did we start? 2008? I think we entered law school 2008. Si Niki 2007. Naglaglagan na. Hindi pa naman ganun on the internet, but you need to use your laptop. You don't have it if you have it in your phone, but it's not as readily accessible. So, iba rin yung study habits. I think for at least in my recent experience, yung mga bata, mas interesting yung insights nila kasi they have so much information, like they have access to so many things. And there are a lot of things that I learned from them also, and I wouldn't have, encountered otherwise. So, I think in terms of studying, meron silang, like they do it in groups. Meron silang like group, like digest tool and whatnot, which we also had in law school, but I think ito talaga they rely on it. But at the same time, they utilize other sources of information. And, sometimes they share that with others, sometimes they don't. I think, individualistic, but at the same time, it's a hybrid. I feel like it's a genuine hybrid.
Alam mo, Pat, tama, information age ngayon, i-google mo lang, makikita mo ibig sabihin ng mga preterition or something like that. Ang daling tignan ngayon sa Google, sa internet, ano nalata mo sa ating mga estudyante? Generally, hindi lang sa FEU, yung kulang ba sa wisdom? Just a lot of information, kaya mas hindi nila nakikita ngayon ang lalim, for example, nung kaso, o kaya nung batas. What do you think? Anong tingin mo dyan? Pat?
For me, so I also taught in another law school aside from FEU. And I guess makita mo yung iba yung culture now. I mean, most of my students, I think that I've taught, they're we call them evening, but work. So they really have not a lot of time compared to full-time students to study and prepare for classes. So sometimes I think, and you put that with the as Pao mentioned, like a lot of readily available information. So minsan kung ano yung nasa digest ng kaso, yun na lang yung na-absorb nila. So mapapansin mo yun na okay, medyo you simplify. Tama naman yung facts, yung ruling, etc. But sometimes when you ask them further questions, doon lalabas na hindi masyado nabasa or kasi hindi masagot yung mga tanong with regard to reasoning ng Supreme Court or maybe other issues that are not really the main issue pero still relevant to the discussion. So doon mo makita na hindi ganun kalalim yung naging pagbasa dun sa kaso. But at the same time, again, I understand kasi even in law school, regular students, full-time students, sa dami ng kaso na kailangan basahin mo, yung time namin, di ba, parang 20 cases for one meeting in one subject, and you would have 3 subjects, 4 subjects in one day. So, ilang kaso yung nakailangan mong basahin, i-summarize, etc. So, mahirap na. Paano pa kaya pag for working students? So, I understand that, I commiserate with them. But at the same time, I tried also to drill to them na, no, you have to go to for precision, kailangan basahin mo talaga. Ganun talaga. Kasi, ganun din yung ginawa sa amin ng mga professors namin. Parang, sasabihan din kami ng professors namin before na nung panahon namin, parang walang digest na dyan. Parang they would say, ngayon may printer na. Dati parang handwritten nila kinokopya yung isang, yung bawat cases daw kasi isa o dalawa lang ang kopya ng SCRA na available. So, di ba, parang paunahan pa, gano'n. At the same time, noong time din namin, sinasabi namin, mas onti naman yung kaso nyo noon, parang, di ba, parang, ilan pa lang yung kaso ng SCRA noon. So, yung mga generational challenges and issues. So, parang I try to also instill yung discipline, yung mga natutunan ko from my professors before, na may mga strict din, medyo old school, but at the same time, I understand, these students. So, may empathy din naman na Kasi yung iba ko rin mga professors na medyo younger din at that time, may napapansin ako mas mabait, strict, pero at the same time, they still expect for you to do your work.
Okay. Niki, sa tingin mo ba mga estudyante ngayon, mas madali silang sumusuko? Let's say sa recitation, sa assignments, sa exam. Tingin mo?
Sa tingin, based dun sa experience ko, parang hindi din eh. Kasi, ang iniisip ko, especially with technology, agree ako kay Pat, na sinabi niya na ang daling maging tamad ngayon, kasi everything is available. Pero, at the same time, there's also a changing perspective na yung technology is becoming an extension, for example, of our memories. So, yung facts na before kailangan specific and yung details kailangan na i-memorize, available na sa'yo. Ready access. So, the time spent for memorizing, you can spend for thinking or analyzing, diba? Or for thinking deeper about that. Pero syempre, depende rin yan sa perspective ng bawat estudyante. Pero I think, yun yung dapat maging perspective ngayon, how we can take advantage of technology. So ganun.
Alam mo no, yung actually ako nakakita na ako ng libro ko, yung Obligation and Contracts, na nasa internet eh. Hindi ko na lang pinansin kasi nga total lalabas na naman yung panibagong edition. So wala na 'yan, obsolete na 'yon. So ang ibig sabihin ko lang, pati yung mga outline ng ibang mga teacher, nakikita mo na sa internet, no? Na mga dating professor, ibang klase na ngayon. Sa tingin niyo nakakatulong 'yon? Nakakatulong ba 'yon?
Ako din na experience ko ng ganyan. I experienced, I think a couple of years ago, a student uploaded my syllabus. And without my permission. I don't mind naman. It's just that I accidentally found it kasi I was looking for a particular case. So, dina-download ko lang naman yung cases. Tapos lumabas yung syllabus ko. Ako lang, unang-una intellectual property. Hindi naman ako madamot sa ganun. But I think, okay, so going back to one of the things that I wish would not be overlooked in an information age, in a tech age, is the discipline pa rin, like the old school discipline of treating these information or the data that we have. Kasi una, intellectual property, that's one. Pangalawa, one of the things that I noticed, I require a lot of papers in my classes. I would encounter a lot of students who take for granted referencing. And to me, that's so basic. Like, if it's not, I know there's nothing new under the sun, but the importance of attribution has to be underscored at every step. And I think because, again, they've gotten used to getting all this information and putting them together and presenting it in a paper. That's well and good if it all makes sense together. It creates a bigger picture. But attribution and recognizing that it's not your original idea, and that your original idea is born out of all these ideas taken together and then your own analysis of it. I think that's something that even younger lecturers should, constantly hammer. It's a challenge, but I think it's not naman ill intention on their part. They just need to be reminded na it's ganun pa rin.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you Pat, how did you adjust sa online teaching of the law? 'Di ba? Of the law ang
Yeah.
ibang klase eh. Paano ka nag-adjust?
Yeah. Oh, I'm still adjusting until now. I think for most of us na who's been teaching, for several years, it's a big adjustment to have your classes online lang. Kasi I think iba pa rin yung personal interaction in a classroom.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess iba rin yung kaba. Tsaka, maybe like going to the whole, reason of law school, diba? You're preparing future lawyers, future practitioners to appear before judges, before courts. So malaking factor yung physical interaction, face-to-face interaction na dapat natututunan nila or natututunan na nila paano yun, di ba, as early as their first year. So, ako, I told my students now for the first semester na, I'll try to parang replicate as much as possible yung how I conducted my class face-to-face, as much as possible, because of course, it's never the same with online and it's not like practicable then. So for mga small details like asking them to observe proper dress code. So kasi yun nga, sabi ko, I'm trying already training you to appear before judges, so you have to appear decent, okay, walang nakasando or I don't know, of course I don't know what they're wearing in the bottom,
Kung naka-shorts, ha?
Pero, naka-shorts sila or kung may shorts or pants man ba sila, pero yun. And then of course sabi ko parang when you recite, so kino-correct ko sila na when you call citation, and then napansin ko na binabasa lang nila what they have on their computer, I call them out na, I don't mind you having some notes before you, pero I can tell if you're just reading. So halata, kapag binabasa mo lang kung ano yung kaso, it's not nice. And ako rin, parang I learned this when I was in law school. Sinasabi rin ng mga professor, sinabihan din ako ng professor ko na, okay, parang try na, just try to glance. If you not everyone can memorize everything, diba? Like 20 cases na from facts, arguments, wala namang unless sobrang gifted. Pero, yun, mga siguro mga ganong small things na kino-correct ko and tinuturo ko sa classes ko. But at the same time, um, mahirap din yung pag-participation, yung sa participation. So, before, when in the middle of class discussion, pag may nag-recite, and then, you want to engage other students as well kasi medyo nahihirapan na itong isang student na nag-recite. So, you would call on any volunteers. So, minsan parang ang dami nakakatuwa na, you would see students raising their hands. But now parang, ma'am, parang attorney, parang, what's that? Parang, kasi yung point or ang daming nagsasalita sabay-sabay. So, ganong adjustment. Yun yung so far na-observe ko din na mga difference between online and actual class learning.
Ikaw, Nikki, how do you react, Nikki, sa mga nahalata mo ng sobrang ang tingin sa libro at nagte-text-text dyan, tapos yung pala binibigyan ng answer ng mga kaibigan. How did you cope? Or how are you coping?
Kino-call out ko talaga. Pero minsan, pag nawawala na rin ako, sasabihin ko, guys, alam ko yung ginagawa nyo. Alam ko nag-chat kayo. Tapos, alam ko, ito yung ginagawa pa nila din minsan. Magte-take sila ng photo. Kasi gusto ko video
Okay.
Magte-take sila ng photo na kunyari nanonood sila. Tapos yun yung background, yun yung photo nila pag naka-off yung video nila. So may photo sila na nakaupo. May photo sila na nakaupo. Tapos kunyari nakatingin sa'yo. Yun yung background nila.
Kapag
wala tayong gumawa sa akin.
Ibang klase, no?
Guys, alam ko yung ginagawa nyo kasi nakailang meetings naman na din ako. So, ganun. So, kina-call out ko sila din. Pero minsan pag nagmamadali na ako, sinasabi ko rin, basahin mo na nga. Sige, basahin mo na.
Basahin mo na lang. Alam mo, talagang ang hirap rin, no? Minsan, you don't want to attribute naughty designs sa mga estudyante, no? Pero minsan nakakakuha ko ng mga recommendation kung mukha magbi-midterms. Sir, pwede ba hatiin nyo sa dalawang parts yung exam para kasi baka mag-connectivity problems. Para first muna, 1 hour, tigil muna, tapos susunod, second hour, within 1 hour gap. Ako, wow! How ingenious! Pero of course, denied, no? So, yung mga ganun, do you think yung mga estudyante are getting the kind of quality education even in this remote connectivity compared to the old style? Paula.
I guess I can go.
I'm not sure, Dean, to be perfectly honest. Like, I know that they've been tech dependent. Again, they have their laptops, their tablets in classrooms. But I think may fatigue din kasi. So that's one. May fatigue.
Yeah.
Pangalawa, they're getting more creative, I have to say. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they're getting more creative. And pangatlo, wala kasing check din eh. So, I think dito lalabas yung self-motivated ba sila or hindi. And, we don't know yet if, I think we're all trying to figure things out, but I guess after a couple of semesters, doon mo talaga ma-identify kung sino yung, kasi I think the self-motivated students, even if you place them in a situation like this, they'll study it. They'll show up, they'll answer your questions, they'll do well. Others might be self-motivated as well, but they're having challenges with the connectivity or even the way they, interact with technology kasi baka hindi rin sila comfortable with, having a video on their faces all the time. So, I think it's affected definitely. Pero hindi ko alam if it's more effective or not. But definitely being self-motivated or not is going to be a huge difference.
Alam mo, no, yung ngayon talaga nagiging, kumbaga, let's say sa FEU, may mga 2 hours tayo, may mga 3 hours tayo. Yung ibang mga law school na tinuturuan ko, like for example, Ateneo, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. Pero ngayon nakikita na rin nila yung utility nung at least dapat 2 hours eh. Kasi baka the next day or the next week, mawala ng connectivity, hindi pa kasi consistent yung yung internet infrastructure natin. So, in that case, para bang meron kayong sense na dapat madaliin ko itong lesson na to kasi I have to complete everything, baka mayari ako dito sa connectivity to. Pat, ikaw, naiisip mo rin ba 'yon?
Not really, Dean. Kasi for me, yun nga, parang I try to replicate my style of teaching as I've done it like, in the previous years. So I understand yun nga, may mga extra challenges. So you try to be considerate lang, you know. I mean, the students, I'm lucky so far na yung mga students ko naman is mukhang mga responsable. So if they're having connectivity issues, like during the class, they would inform me, but they would keep on coming back, you know, walang mag-give up na, parang ma'am, parang di ako connect, next week na lang po. Parang so far wala pa, and like, you know, people, if they get cut off, they try to get back in. And when you, in terms of, you know, trying to finish the whole covered or syllabus, parang ano din naman siya, part din siya ng normal, you know, one of your issues in class management, even before, di ba? Parang even before, parang it will really depend. Minsan mabagal mag-recite yung mga students, especially in the first few weeks. So, nade-delay talaga kayo. But at the same time, you're trying to teach them kasi the skills, how to read, especially for first-year students. So, how to read cases. Para later on, bibilis din naman. So, and again, yun na, class management na lang siya. So, for me din, parang gayon, yeah, so far, same pa din ginagawa ko. And I think para for all professors, and even when I was a law student, you know, parang hindi naman, iba din mga law professors mo nahihirapan din na tapusin yung syllabus, diba? So sometimes just focus on really the important doctrines or important principles, especially if you have so many cases assigned, tas medyo paulit-ulit lang naman yung ratio decidendi. So we can just concentrate on 2, 3. So, yun na, class management siya. So, again, I'm not really, I don't feel pressured yet na, okay, kasi online class to, so dapat talaga parang this. Nag-a-adjust ka din, di ba, as a teacher, you know, it depends on what's happening in your class. Tapos, di bilis, or if, you know, if also, like, for example, I'm not available on a certain class day, nagme-makeup classes ako, which I was also doing before. So, ganun, parang, yun, same lang for me. So far.
Alam mo, Niki, nung nag-umpisa tong pandemic, nag-aalala ko sa mga estudyante, yung parang, ang tingin ko parati sa kanila, kawawa sila, baka walang connectivity, baka walang ganyan, walang ganito, walang ganyan. You know, kaya lang, this summer vacation, I attended a number of seminars, patungkol dito sa mga new generation of student, yung Generation X and Generation Y. Alam mo, ang unang-unang sinabi nung aming lecturer, sabi niya, don't worry. Laptop, computer, gadget, buhay nila yan. Mga 90%, 95%, meron sila. Kahit isang gadget at kinakalikot na nila yan, alam na nila yan. Kaya don't feel so worried about them. Ganyan rin ba ang ano mo ngayon, Niki? How do you think? How do you feel now?
Okay, challenge actually yan sa akin, Dean. Kasi, for example, sasabihin ng student, mahina internet ko, wala akong internet, hindi ako makapag-video or hindi ako makarinig, yung mga ganyang may connectivity issue sila. Kasi may recognize mo rin naman na may problem yung Philippines with internet connectivity. And it's a fact. And everybody knows about it. At the same time, yun nga, yung sinabi mo, mga bata, buhay nila yan. So, ganon. So, pag may nagsasabi sa akin ng ganon, nalilito ako, ano kayang gagawin ko? Problema ko ba yan? Ako ba yung mag-a-adjust? Or mag-a-adjust ba yung mga kaklase mo pag wala kang student, ay pag wala kang connection? Pero,
Oo nga.
inisip mo din, paano kung totoo? Anong gagawin mo para makahabol itong individual na to? Kasi this individual is
Yes.
no less important than the rest of the class. So, challenge na
Yes.
talaga for me, what do I do about it? As a professor, as their mentor, hindi ko pa rin alam yung sagot, Dean. So,
Ang hirap na. Actually, sa totoo lang, lahat pa tayo, in a way, nangangapa pa eh. Kasi last semester was, in a way, very easy. Ang mindset talaga, as much as possible, pasa mo na. Because mas madami silang mas inaalala noon kesa sa pag-aral. Saan kukuha ng pagkain, ano mangyayari, hindi makakaalis sa bahay. So might as well, ang default mode natin, pasa. Pero ngayon, iba na eh, di ba? Natuto na tayo, kaya yung instruction ko sa FEU, sa inyo, approximate as much as possible the brick and mortar classroom style as much as possible. Even in the exam. Actually nga, last week, nag-ano ko eh, kasi malapit na yung midterms natin, nag-trial ako. Talaga nag-trial ako. Sinabi ko ganito, okay, I'll have a quiz. Binigay ko yung quiz sa kanila. Tapos inansweran nila. Sabi ko, let's not use Canvas, let's use email. I'll give you 15 minutes to finish the quiz and 15 minutes to send it to me. Ang tagal pala nung 15 minutes. In 3 minutes, nasa akin na lahat. Mali. So now I know. Now I know it can work. Kaya sa midterms ko, inang gagawin ko. Kinokondisyon ko na yung mind nila. Ang bilis kasi nung dating eh. Diba? And probably how just to program how to stop them when the time comes. No? Yun na lang ang problema. Kayo, do you find yourself imaginative now? Yung very creative? Kung ano, I have to think of something. Ikaw, Pat.
Like in terms of teaching style, parang I guess parang well before when you had classes in the classroom, diba? And siguro hindi ko sure kung pati nung time nyo din yung meron kayong class cards, right? So in FEU Law, in the previous years, we'd have class cards with the names of the students there. Ako, nire-record ko pa sa mga students ko, may pictures nila para para na-memorize ko rin yung name and yung nila, yung mukha nila. So, ngayong online learning, well, I guess I can still do that. Pero parang sayang, parang sayang din. So what I did was, which I think some of other faculty members in FEU do, is yung online name picker. So may yung roulette. So that's how I do my recitations now. So it's random, but for the whole effect, ang ginagawa, sinishare ko yung screen, tapos, may kita nila yung, when I click, and ikot hanggang mag-stop, and then may automatic yung sound effects ng random name picker na yun. So, parang, for example, Niki Mendez, parang, wait! So, parang, I don't know how they're feeling. Nakakabado ba sila? Tapos I asked them, akala ko kasi nung una ako lang nakarinig ng sound effects na yun na pag-stop na sa isang page. Narinig pala yung class. Hindi ko lang kung torture yun sa kanila or what. Wala naman silang reklamo. Baka ma-traumatize sila ng sound effects. Ayun. I think fun naman siya, and then it's fair also. So yeah, that's how that's how I call students for recitation nowadays.
Punta naman tayo sa punta tayo sa school, no. Punta naman tayo sa mga personal and professional life niyo, no. You're working, you have your own work, and you are teaching, and now it's the pandemic, it's COVID-19. How do you manage your time? How do you spend your time, your free time, your creative time? Paula, ikaw, during these times?
Opo. So, I am in the development sector. So, I do development work. I noticed right off the bat when we went on lockdown that things became busier. Like I thought nag-adjust nga, but sobrang naging loaded. And in the first few months, I think it was not just me, but for a lot of people, it was quite difficult to manage time kasi people seem to have lost that boundary of time. Like before kasi, di ba, you have your 8 to 5, tapos after 5, sure, you can stay in the office or you can still have your meetings and whatnot. But yung travel time home, that's your thing. That's your time for yourself or whatnot. Ngayon kasi, they assume na you have all the time in the world because you're just at home. And that's true. That's true. But over time, I think, and this is a challenge for everyone, no? I'm sure this is something that a lot of us are grappling with still. The challenge of saying no and setting that boundary yourself. Ako, again, parang around June na po ako naka-adjusted na, okay, weekends off limits talaga. Even if I want to make headway, I'll try to make headway during the week. And then weekends are for the more shallow things. Sorry. Like, you know this, I like my makeup, my skincare. So, talaga I really try to do those things. On weekends, I review things. So, that's because I was finishing my book as well. So, I actually found taking breaks from writing my book allowed me to finish other books, like not like fiction books that I otherwise wouldn't have had opportunity to. So I think if anything, the adjustment has been setting the boundaries myself for my own well-being.
Ikaw, Pat, arbitration ang practice mo ngayon and in France. And siguro you're speaking with or you're talking with French people, so you probably know a little French. So how do you cope? How do you cope in this pandemic?
Well, I guess, I mean, it's, I would say it's been hard for everyone, everywhere in the world. But for me personally, it's a bit harder also because I'm away from my friends and family. I'm more or less, quote unquote, alone in a foreign country during a pandemic, and I'm here to pursue more experience in international law and international arbitration. So, but I never expected to be out of the Philippines, out of the country for this long, and during such not so good times. So it's quite hard. And I didn't lose a family member in COVID. It was like really, really sad. I lost my grandmother, not to COVID, due to natural causes, but it was hard, not to be able to go back home to my family because by the time, of course, like the flight is how long, and then by the time I get there, tapos na yung wake, and then also with the quarantine. Requirements, etc. So it's been really hard for me, but yeah, I'm glad because I've met a lot of people here also, like friends, and I've adjusted well to life here in France, in Paris. But yeah, of course, it's different. I miss my office mates in the Philippines, my friends, teaching also. So yeah, it's been really, really a big adjustment. But yeah, so kinakaya din. Kaya.
Kayanin. Ikaw, Niki, how are you doing this pandemic, no? As a lawyer, as a teacher, as an ordinary person? Anong ginagawa mo para ma-energize ka ulit?
Yung ginagawa kong para ma-energize, I always look forward to the next thing, no? Kasi daming ginagawa, busy, so I consult for the government, tapos law firm, ganun. So, and then yung personal things for me, for personal stuff. So what I try to do is to do a ritual that would, for me, signal in my head na tapos na to. and then I have to move on to the next. And simple rituals like closing your laptop, yung laptop na ginagamit mo for office, for example, sa law firm. Closing that reminds yourself that, tapos na to, mag-focus ka na dun sa isa. So, ganun lang din. And then, pag-close na yung dalawang laptop, and then it's your time for yourself. Ganon. So, little rituals will help.
Alam mo, dinitignan ko na itong mga text atin, mga messages, ang dai-dai na. Sabi niya sa akin, ito may nagsabi na, Dinmer, ang mga guest mo ngayon, mga beauty queens. So, well, ganyan po sa FEU. Beauty queen ang lahat. so, napaka times are very interesting, yung itong sitwasyon sa law school, sa professional life ninyo, and yung vision na yung planning, yung anong plano nyo 5 or 6 years from now, nandun pa ba, or is it a day-to-day thing ngayon more than compared doon? O ikaw, Paula?
Nandun pa rin din. Actually, medyo 2-3 year plans. Nandun pa rin naman, of course, subject to certain adjustments. But I agree with what you said na you take it day by day. Ako, I really do try to take it day by day. Initially, I thought I could still keep my old plans. And kaya naman din talaga. But the road to getting there is obviously changing. Pero I think for at least personally, for my own well-being, and just recognizing the amount of energy I have in any given day, I really take it day by day. So, may planner ako, na, I've always been like a planner person. Like, I always list down things. But of late, talagang down to the most minute things, like, checking my email for my thesis advices, chapter 3. Like, nilalagay ko siya doon. Kasi, feeling ko, crossing it off is a victory. Yung mga ganun bagay. So, it's a day-to-day thing. But, certainly, the plans are still there. Yun nga, the road to getting there lang is changing a little bit.
Ikaw, Pat?
Oh, for me,
Ikaw, para ka nakafocus ngayon in your work sa France.
I mean, I don't know about that. Pero I have, like long-term plans and for career progression as well. But at the same time, like the last few months, also my plans have really changed. Like I think from almost like from sometimes week to week, they should change your plans because like originally I was planning, to stay only here until like April this year, but like COVID, everything. So I got extended. So yeah, my plans are still evolving and changing. Like I mean, like for short-term plans, but yeah, it's really hard. I think everyone is feeling it. I mean, I hope I'm not the only one. And I also talk to my students about this actually because some students did have to leave law school. That's what I've been told. Like because. Well, I'm not, they said personal reasons, and I'm not gonna go into it. So, like, actually, the last meeting I had with my students, I was asking them, are they okay? I know this is a very difficult time for everyone. Of course, I didn't go into details, what personally I've been going through as well. But I told them, the uncertainty, yeah, everyone feels it. It's okay, but, you just really have to be present, try to be present, again, day by day. And that's what I've been doing also. It's hard, sometimes, but yeah, you try to motivate yourself and to figure out, what's the next step, what's the next move, and these things. And again, because we're still in the middle of this pandemic, things are still evolving and changing. But again, hopefully, everyone will go get out of this alive and well and healthy, of course. So yeah.
Ikaw, Niki, yung plans mo ba more of ad hoc everyday planning more than visualize mo yung future somewhere out there?
So, future and long-term plans din. Same pa rin yan. Same pa rin. Constant. Siguro kung merong changes, paunti-unti lang. Pero, sabi nga ni Pao, usually, you take it day by day. Para just knowing that each step, each day will contribute to your future plan, to attaining your future goals. So, ganun lang yun. Kung mayroon nagbabago, yun yung mga short term, yun yung day by day. That's what you adjust depending on the situation, depending on the factors you cannot control. So, ganun. Day by day, at the same time, merong fixed na long-term goal. So, ganun yun.
Kayo bang tatlo, alam ko, you're very close, no? Paula, Niki, at saka Pat, no? Hindi nyo ba namimiss yung going out? Nawala kami? Andrew?
Yes.
Andrew, nawala kami?
I think also.
Nawala kami? Ayan! Okay, yeah, dumalik na. So, hindi nyo ba namimiss ang isa't isa? Alam ko, mahilig kayo mag-abroad dyan. Di ba?
Nag-video call kami.
Updated kami din sa isa't isa. Yeah, we do video
Updated.
calls every now and then. Yeah, updated kami. So,
Talaga, ha?
like, yeah, and it's they keep me sane here also.
Pero
You're able to talk to your friends, like for real. These are my girls.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much to all of you, no. Ang dahil kong comment, no, babasahin ko pag wala na kayo. Any last words para to encourage our people out there? Niki, ano masasabi mo? Any message to our students out there, to our professors, to people out there?
To my students, to all students, future law students, my message would be, if you really want to be a lawyer, don't give up. Kasi I used to almost quit law school, for example, but things will pass. Madali pa yung experience mo ngayon, and just know that whatever you're experiencing now, it will make you better in the future if you just push through.
Okay. Pat?
It's pretty much the same, like never give up and just keep on trying and do as much as you can each day. It's easy to be hard on yourself, but again, remember that this will pass. So just keep on trying.
Okay. Paula, ikaw.
Ako naman po. So I think important to recognize what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. Obviously, no one was prepared for this. So reach out to other people, check up on them, or reach out to someone if you're feeling quite sad or alone. But also, I think, sorry, kasi human rights yung perspective natin din. So, I just wanted to take this opportunity also to say na, in as much as it looks like, the situation is really dire, the smallest act of kindness can make a huge difference. So, if you find an opportunity to help, no matter how small it may seem to you, you never really know, it might change the life of the person that you help. So, yun lang, we're all trying our best, but don't feel like you're alone. Reach out to other people and be kind.
Wow, thank you very much sa inyong tatlo. Niki, Paula, and Pat. Sana sa uulit, ha. Thank you very much. Palagay ko madaming na-inspire sa inyong tatlo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, mga kaibigan, no. Alam nyo, no, dito sa pandemic na to, no, you just really have to find time. Find time to do something. To do something and to get busy and to be positive and not so much to worry, to plan, kamukha nung ginagawa ni Paula, ni Pat, at saka ni Niki. I've known them. I've known them. As a matter of fact, Paula, Pat, and Niki, I really chose them or kinuha ko sila para maging FEU professors namin. And they helped a lot. They helped a lot sa rebranding ng law school at saka sa pag-improve namin in terms of bar performance and teaching. And now they are in their separate ways, no, pero still may one common denominator sila, no, yung FEU nagtuturo. I'm sure they're teaching in some other schools, but they're finding the way to really be productive during this time, no. Ako naman po, alam niyo, ako po ang ginagawa ko ngayon this pandemic. You will not believe it. I teach in 5 schools, 5. Of course, principally, I teach sa FEU, Civil Law Review and Persons. And then I teach at the Ateneo, Civil Law Review and Persons. And then I teach at Pamantasan ng Luzon ng Maynila, Civil Law Review. And then I teach at UST, Persons. And then at San Beda Graduate Schools, nagtuturo rin po ako sa mga Masters of Law and Special Procedures in Family Law cases. And you know what, ang nakita ko sa aking sarili, ano po, hindi po kamukha noon na pupunta kayo sa iba't ibang eskwelahan, may driving time, may travel time na will waste your time actually. Kasi hindi ako nakakapagbasa sa kotse, habang umaandar, natutulog po ako, pero kung nagbabasa, nahihilo po ako. Pero now you could easily switch to one school, from one school to just another. Imagine I can go literally from Makati to Espanya. Makati FEU, then I go to Espanya in UST to teach exactly the same subject, persons, no? And from Senator Hill Puyat to Rockwell to teach Civil Law Review. And I like it because it keeps me busy, it makes me creative, and also in challenge po kasi ng online teaching, napakahirap, ano po, you constantly worry about connectivity, but you constantly create new ways, new ways to reach your student. Alam niyo po, ganito ako ngayon sa online. Am I reaching you, everybody? Am I reaching you? Tinuruan ko na po sila. Sasabihin nila sa online nila, gaganon po nilang kamay nila. Hindi sila magsasalita. Gaganon lang po sila. Yes, prof, ganyan. Good. Okay. Then I'll talk. Did you get me? Gaganon po. Every now and then. At saka tama po si Pat kanina, no? Yung ginagawa niya, yung every beginning of the school, every beginning of the class, sinasabi ko, how's everybody? How's everybody? Minsan pa nga, pinapractice ko pa nga po yung pag-aaral ko sa Kastila. Sasabi ko, ¿Cómo va todo? ¿Todo bien? Di ba po? At alam niyo yung mga estudyante naman, very napuput at ease sila. Kasi po alam niyo, may fatigue factor po kasi ang nag-aano sa online. Sabi nila po, max na po ang fixated concentration ng estudyante sa online, mga 30 minutes. Kaya po ako, nagle-lecture ngayon madalas at nagre-recitation at nagre-recess. Not 2 minutes, not 3 minutes. Ang recess ko po mga 10 minutes. Because yun po ang pinag-aralan namin, kami po mga professor sa FEU, nag-aral po kami, nag-seminar kami kung how the X and Y generation mindset works, di ba po? And how much time can anyone stay in a pressured situation, fixated sa online, ano po? And you know, it could be very tiring. Tiring sa mata, tiring emotionally, and that's why po we're trying to adjust so much. Kaya lang we cannot naman sacrifice the quality of the teaching po, and ako as a dean, sinasabi ko sa mga professor, approximate as much as possible the brick and mortar Socratic method recitation. Still have recitation, and also we will have midterms, as we will live as normally as possible with a little adjustment right here and there, tweet here, tweet there. But let's have our examination, time pressure pa rin, 2 to 3 hours with the timing and the padala sa inyo, whatever, by email or by Canvas. Ang dahil na pong mga app ngayon, mayroong Blackboard, may Canvas, may Google Classroom, etc. Sa school po namin, we're using Zoom and we're using Canvas. So, yun po. So, and for ordinary people, I'm sure, naghahanap rin kayo ng mga outlet kung anong gagawin nyo. Ako, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, every morning, 7 to 9, I study Spanish. Just to know another language, no po, another language. Yun. And ang teacher ko po, si Maestra Francia Restaurant. We do online talking. We do online conjugation, Espanol, just to keep my mind working, ano po, ha. And I have my show at 12:30 to 2 o'clock. I go on television and radio sa relasyon. I give advice, and every 8 o'clock ngayon po, tomorrow we will have another show again. Ginagawa na po na pong consistent tong alas 8 natin, magkita-kita po tayo. Some hard stuff like last night, some practical stuff like tonight. Si Paula, si Pat, at saka si Niki. Ano po yan? Triumvirate yan, tatlo. Tatlo pong matatalinong mga bata yan. Ulitin ko lang po, si Pat, nag-aral po yan ng Masters of Law sa Public International Law sa Queen Mary University sa England as a shielding scholar. Si Joan Paula de Veraturda, Masters of Laws in Human Rights and Democratization sa University of Sydney. At si Niki Mendez sa Masters of Law sa Business Law and Technology, University of California in Berkeley. Yan po. At nagtuturo po sila sa FEU. Alam niyo po, nung ako'y nag-assume sa FEU, sinabi ko po sa sarili ko na I will get young, very passionate professors and just like them, and to impart knowledge to my students. So kaya I'm so happy po kasi despite the pandemic, we've reached sa FEU, with all modesty po, our target of 5 sections sa first semester sa freshman, and my staff is just truly very great. But it was created out of innovation. Ano po? We innovate. Nag-online enrollment po kami, nag-online application po kami, kung makakapag-online payment ng tuition fee, so be it. At kung kailangan ng promissory note muna, so be it. Di ba po? It's just this pandemic really changed a lot of us, no? Changed me. Biro nyo, dati po I used to walk around during every morning as much as possible. Nag-hear mass po ako sa tabing simbahan. Pero ngayon po, I'm 63 years old. Well, I just stick dito lang po ako. And I could move around, tawag mo dito yung through the internet. And I find it very, very interesting. No? And I meet, literally in a week's time, I meet around the number of my students, 500. Siguro I meet around 300 students in a week's time. Almost every day I have class. Di ba po? And it energized me basta nakikita ko po yung mga bata at tinuturuan nyo at sinasabihin nyo, ito mali, ito tama, ito mali sa batas natin, ganito ang Korte Suprema, ganito ang Executive, ganito ang Legislature. And I ask their opinion. Lalong-lalo na po dun sa Canvas namin, I post my opinion, they post their opinion. And it's just a nice thing. It's just a nice thing. This pandemic can be very also helpful to us. It's worrying. Siyempre po, araw-araw nagwo-worry ako. Where will you get your food? How will you kung aalis ang mga anak ko, nag-ialala ko saan pupunta to. Magtatrabaho rin po eh. So, ganyan po. So, wow. And our conversation here every night, so good. I feel so energized because from you nakakakuha po ako ng insight, lalo na sa mga issues natin sa nation natin, sa country natin, sa bansa po natin. And ang maganda naman at alam niyo po ba, ang feeling namin, sa tingin ko, yung pinag-uusapan po natin nakakarating sa mga kinauukulan. Hindi niyo po ba nahalata? Nung nangyari po yung lately lang po, yung ano ba yung issue? Ito yung sa buhangin, yung sa beach. Isa po tayo sa mga unang pumuna nun, nagkaroon na po ng reaction. I think we're helping society in our comment and in our observation. People may not like our observations. Okay, fine. But that's how democracy works, no? I mean, debate stirs up the spirit of democracy, ano? And ganyan lang po dapat mapangalagaan natin. Kahapon ang ating mga panauhin, mga professor rin ng FEU Ateneo, si Erin Aguila, very good political analyst, at saka si Huge Cow. And sa succeeding days pa rin po, definitely yung mga I will invite mga academics po para to enlighten us, pati po ako, to enlighten us in the issues coming. And I hope I can also interview yung mga light naman, yung mga entertainers. I'm trying to reach some of them para po makausap natin sila. And I'm very appreciative kay Pat, kay Niki, at saka kay Paula because they accommodated us tonight from their very, very busy schedule. Paula is in the midst of writing her books. Si Pat is in France doing some arbitration. Si Niki po is has a high responsibility sa kanyang trabaho and to impart information to all of us. It's really very inspiring, no? Na-inspire po rin ako sa kanila. Mga bata sila pero very passionate sa work nila. They're the future of our country. They are really the future of our country. Nakikita ko po yung mga sarili namin nung araw sa kanila, no? Yung they are very passionate about their work, and they are very good Filipinos po. They're very patriotic. They love their country, and they love their country so much, and kaya nga po they're really working very hard, no? And ayan po, tingnan po natin yung ibang mga comments nyo. Babasahin ko lang po, ha. Okay, let's see. Babasa po ako ng comments nyo. Okay, madami pong bumabati sa atin ngayon. Let me see. Hi, good evening, Attorney Mel. Si J. Frost Gadiana, Erich Banzon, Nestoria Bolastig, Maria Teresa Bunganay, at si Jeff Frost Gadiana, sabi niya, mapagpalayang gabi sa ating lahat. Happy birthday po, Mama Mary. Oh, nga pala, ngayon ba o bukas? Ngayon. Happy birthday, Mama Mary. Ricky Valero, Bert Balde from Sorsogon, June Castracion, Anthony Tejada, Glosan, Romel Tayag, Rolando Ison, May Sevilla. Medyo si May, mahaba-haba ang comment niya. Sabi niya, hello, good evening, Dean Mel. Listening to you is always informative and enlightening. Thank you, stay in power. Thank you very much for trying as much as possible to have you to have you something to look forward to this discussion. I hope I'm interesting every night. Good evening, Attorney Mel, watching from Legazpi City, Albay, Evangeline Hipolito, Quintin Luciano Subong, MJ Ako from Hong Kong, Francia, Bernarte Cardino, Miel's Food Hub, ano ba ito? Food, ano ba ito? Food, restaurant ba ito? Well, siguro masarap ang pagkain nyo. Willie Beasaca, Ruth Columa McNulty, Felix Corpus, Santiago Rona, even from the Baus, Edwin Tan, then we have Arnold Chan. Let me see. Joffrox Gadiana, wow, matalino na. Nagagandahan pa. Bonito Alintahan, si Attorney Alintahan. Professor ko rin po yan. The Pretty Faculty sa FEU po. Okay. At CJ Morris, MJ Ako, Goods, okay. Alright. Anday pong bumabati sa atin. Si Attorney Pat Tobias, kamukha daw ni Nadine Lustre. Sino ba si Nadine Lustre? Tingnan nga natin yung picture ni Nadine Lustre. Si Pat Tobias daw, kamukha ni Nadine Lustre. Artista ba yon? Okay. Anday po ditong Romeo Rosario, dalaga po ba yung ating mga magagandang mga guest? Opo. Pero I think may mga boyfriends na yun. Pero I don't know. I don't really ask them their personal lives po. That's their lives. Watching from Victoria City, Helen Dacudao. So many people. Ano po balita sa petisyon tungkol sa anti-terror law, Sir Dean? Ang anti-terror law po ngayon, madami pong sumasalunghat ngayon doon po sa mungkahi ng Solicitor General na ipagpaliban o kaya itigil na ang oral argument. Hindi po, dapat po matuloy yun kung kinakailangan sapagkat nga po para po madinig tayo ng Korte Suprema. At alam niyo po, ang dai-dai na po nag-file. I think ang last counting is 31 petition. Siguro po mag-uumpisa na po kasi sinisigurado lang po siguro na wala nang susunod pa. I think wala na, mga 31. Baka okay na yon. So, I will give you information po kung kailan ang oral argument. Okay. Okay. And that's Belgium. Angie Cruz watching from Belgium. Vic Cortez. Retiva Inventado. Jerry. Okay. And then Jade Luzorata. Vic Valenciano. Alex Flores Aguinaldo. So many po. Thank you very much for writing us today. Leo Parman, Dean Mel, mga pageant winners ba ang mga guests mo ngayon? Mga professor ko po yon sa Far Eastern University Institute of Law. I took them because of their brilliance, because of their passion, because of their conviction to teach future lawyers. They are teachers of future lawyers. Napakahirap ba talaga mag-abogado? Bawat kaso dapat pag-aralan para fully handa talaga. Thumbs up sa mga attorney. Yes po. 4 na taon po yan. 4 na taon. Recitation po, Socratic method. Okay, beautiful lawyers. Would you comment on what's happening in our beloved Filipinas? Si Anthony Quintanar. Okay po. Well, siguro next time po. I purposely made this show very light tonight para magkaroon naman po tayo ng diversion kasi po for the last 2-3 nights heavy stuff. We have to relax sometimes and maganda pong relaxation, how to knowing what people do in their ordinary lives. Ito po ngayon, knowing how teachers do in their ordinary lives. Okay po, simula na pong 1971 or 1972 po ata nakita yung papel. Hindi ko po alam kung alright. Legal warriors, are they single and available? Hindi ko po natanong Mabuhay Pilipinas. Watching from London, UK. Okay, right? Pati yung ating wala yung ating tiga-Espanya ngayon. Siguro tomorrow. Yan po mga kapatid, mga kaibigan, maraming salamat po pagsama nyo sa amin ngayong araw ng Martes. At bukas po ulit, magkita-kita po tayo. Siguro bukas, matindi na naman ulit ang ating ang ating pag-uusapan. At para po para po maging interesting ulit. Maraming salamat po sa mga sumulat sa atin ngayon. At marami pong nanonood sa atin ngayon. At kanina nga po, tinweet ko lang ito. In a matter of time, may madami nang nag-like ng tweet sa Facebook itong ating mga guests ngayon. Kaya thank you very much po pagsama nyo sa akin. Ito po ang inyong lingkod, si Dean Mel Santa Maria. Manalangin na po tayo. Panginoon, nagpapasalamat po kami at nakatapos kami sa yugtong ito. At salamat po sa inspirasyon na ibinigay nyo sa amin sa pamamagitan ng kwento ni Niki, ni Paula at ni Pat. Yung tatlo pong magkakaibigan, tatlo pong nagtuturo, tatlo pong talagang mahal na mahal ang bokasyon ng pagtuturo. Salamat po rin sa kanila at madami rin silang natutulungan. At lahat po ng ito ay aming inaaalay para sa inyong ikabubunyi. Amen. Maraming salamat po muli sa inyong pagsama sa akin. At tandaan ninyo, ano po yung sinasabi natin tuwing nagtatapos tayo? Teka muna, bago po ang lahat, kung ninanais nyo po, mag-subscribe lang po kayo sa Attorney Mel Santa Maria. Subscribe lang po at saka po sa mag-like sa ating Dean Mel Santa Maria official fan page para po lumaki na ang ating community. Lumalaki na po ang ating community. Sana po makapag-imbita po kayo. Bukas muli po, alas 8 ng gabi, dito po. At bukas naman ng tanghali, 12:30 to 2 o'clock sa Radyo 5, 92.3 News FM at saka sa 1PH Channel 1 sa Signal. At hanapin nyo po sa TV Plus, nandyan rin po kami, nasa Facebook rin po kami. At sa gabi, alas 8, dito po tayo. Dito po tayo sa Interviews with Dean Mel. Maraming salamat po at tatandaan ninyo, ang kritiko ay nagmamahal rin sa ating inang bayan. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.